Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Like, Share, Follow. And this week I have Sally Anne Holland, who's a HR consultant who studied social media as well at USC. But Sally, you were telling me before we went live that you're performing a range of roles, and you're really using your social media knowledge to do that. So please tell me, what have you been up to since you were last in my class at USC?
Oh, Karen, hi. Thanks so much for having me on today. Yes. It's been a really busy, I guess, half a year since I finished at USC last year. I've had a great time. I sort of started my journey at USC with a goal at the end. I really wanted to work for myself in human resources. But as the journey went on through university and you learn more and you take on different subjects, sometimes that goal changes a little bit. And I think by the time I got to my marketing and social media subjects, my whole idea of being a human resources consultant absolutely exploded. And I've been able to branch off into career advising as well as also consulting business to business in HR, but absolutely adopting the social media strategies in with my clients to really with their branding, their personal branding, also their professional branding. It's been exciting.
That's great. And so we're also talking about how just having social media knowledge in a range of industries, but in HR, like in human resources, it's a really great skill to have because it performs so many functions. So you're looking at sort of internal communication with internal stakeholders. You are looking at, I guess, branding of the organization as well, and trying to attract people through, the right candidates through social media. Even governance, social media policy around what employees are allowed to do and not to do.
Correct.
There's so many dimensions actually to it. So
the social media policy is really, really current in any workplace, no matter the size of the organisation. It really does need to be in place. And that's something I've actually come across quite a bit in my work life, is that having to sort of counsel team members on their social media use when it refers back to the business. It's actually quite important. Yes.
Yeah. And so tell me, the question I normally ask now is, what has been some of the best career advice that you've had? And so you give career advice.
I do. It's interesting. I do, yes, because with the career, what's happened, I was speaking to you off air about it, because my grand dream was to be business to business in HR, and I come from a retail background. So I really wanted to just that my point of difference to be just specifying retail for specifying HR for small retail. Here on the Sunshine Coast, it's a very small pond I was aiming at, and using sort of that networking and connections that I have there. But what happened was COVID hit, and people were faced with, redeployment or completely pivoting their careers. And my phone started ringing. Can you help me? Can you help me with my LinkedIn profile? Can you help me with my resume? So with that sort of that career advice there, I would say that I've really enjoyed helping people with their personal branding and things like that. And one career advice that I got early on, which I've actually carried through to my clients now, is that it was one of my bosses, and he said to me, "Fail fast." I have never forgotten it. Don't stick with something just because it was your idea or it was a good idea at the time, and you just keep flogging it, trying to make it work. And I think it's just and so with my clients, perhaps trying to pivot, or my own ideas in my businesses, like my side gig to my side gig. I've got like 3 things going. But I think just that if something was a great idea that you workshopped and this is the one, but it's just not working, and it could be a social media campaign, it could be someone's profile, it could be a business idea, it's okay if it doesn't work, because to try again, but fail fast and admit it, and sort of move on from the ego and look at it and start again. I think, yes, so fail fast is the best career advice I think ever given.
Yeah. Fail fast and move on.
Yes.
And so tell me as well, when you're attracting clients and in your range of businesses, what do you think sets you apart from other people? So do you think that your social media knowledge helps you, or do you think it's a whole range of, you've got a whole range of experience. So what do you think sets you apart? How do you, I guess, differentiate yourself in your personal branding?
I do. I come from a fashion retail background, and because I wanted to focus my HR into retail, so one of my Instagram pages example is, we probably have to look at it a bit to work out what it is, but I have a real fashion focus, and my posts are pretty much just fashion or current marketing or branding in other brands that I follow that I admire. So it's sort of attracting the client who is fashion focused rather than a straight HR. So I try to sort of be fashion forward in my HR thinking, if that sort of makes sense. So I think that I wanted to have a point of difference. There's plenty of people I follow who are doing some really great HR strategy advice across the socials, and I follow them as well, and they follow me back, which is really exciting. But I wanted my point of difference to be, I really do understand the industry.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to just specify and also have the opportunity to say, not necessarily no, but really select my clients. There's one of the companies I follow is the Digital Picnic, and I read something really great they posted the other day that they actually say no more often than yes to clients. That's probably a really nice place to be, but they want to ensure that their client is the right fit. And I think that's with my clients as well. There's no point me doing HR for a construction company or something like that. I don't know it, but I do know HR, retail, back of house, front of house, and I can give the best version of me to that sort of business.
That's such an important point. And I actually read Dennis Yu, he's a digital marketer in the States who I just follow religiously. He says so many great things. And he posted about this particular thing the other day about saying how it's so important to have the right client. And he said that he shares a quote, I forget who he got it from, but he uses it quite often, where he says, we're not for everybody. So you're right, like you're hiring the client as well as them hiring you, so it has to work on both levels.
It's great. It's a nice and a nice way to be confident in your work, that you're presenting the best of you, and that the client's getting the real deal as well.
Yeah. Now, we're talking about your university journey as well, and so you would have been juggling full-time work and university study, and it's not easy. I did it myself for 10 years, and it was tough. And so with doing that, like, what do you think were some of the things that have most benefited you in your working life that you've learned at university?
Probably a few things. I think what I really learned was research, how to research quickly, get to the information you need quickly, because I use that every day in my work when I because I've got sort of two things. If I'm doing example a professional profile or an application for a client for a job, I don't pretend to know every industry as well, so I'll actually research that industry or even that company. So it's actually going into those company websites, business reports, those sort of things, to actually extract the information, which is helping the client who's doing a job application to know more about the company. We know that's sort of part of that career journey, is to really know the company you're applying for. So sort of learning those research skills. I think I learnt writing, and that sort of copywriting. I'm sort of thinking more recently to my social media subjects, which I absolutely loved, but actually learning that punchy writing. And I look at now some websites and they're so wordy. It's hard to get through, and you've got that couple of seconds. Like we say in recruitment that a recruiter will spend 6 seconds max on your resume, so you better be able to catch their attention at the beginning. And I think that's the same on your digital pages, that you need people are just scrolling, so you need to be able to catch attention quickly and make that first your landing page really quite compelling. So that writing skill that I learned, particularly in my social media, it's a current way of writing, and it's keeping your sentences short, keeping plenty of white space on the page, and it actually is very similar in attracting recruiters to notice an individual, as well as it is for your social media pages. And so learning that writing was absolutely amazing, and I absolutely love it. So yeah, probably writing and research was two really great things I learned at university.
Excellent. And so now on the flip side, what is something that a skill or some knowledge you wish you learned at university that you have needed and you didn't receive, so you've had to upskill after?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in my early days when I did all my human resources subjects, and I was only speaking to someone on the weekend who was from a different faculty but had a similar thought post-university, was that while we learnt a lot of strategy and a lot of theory, I think some of the technical skills were missing. So if I were to be a graduate and wanting to go into a HR role, example, there'd be HR programs that I would not be aware of about them at all, even let alone the name of them, and let alone how to use them. And I think that is a disadvantage for graduates, or if you're competing with people that have had a little bit of experience, because it's been a lot of me Googling and uploading myself and purchasing programs to learn them myself, whereas in the course they weren't even discussed. So some of those skills of databases or programs or platforms that are industry specific seem to be missing.
Yeah. Okay, that's great feedback. And now you're still working with social media, because you're saying you use your own channels and you help to improve your clients' professional branding on their social channels. So what is something that you've learned in the last couple of weeks, some sort of new platform change or trick or tip that you can share with us? Because, social media changes every day. So what's something new that you can share?
Well, I hope it's new, but it's new for me. So now that because I'm on Instagram quite a bit and I like Instagram, but I find the whole phone thing, it's just my little finger. So the fact that you can now upload it to Instagram straight from your desktop, and I don't know if that's just been introduced in the last couple of weeks or I just found out about it in the last couple of weeks.
Do you go through Creator Studio, or do you go through the actual desktop version of Instagram?
The desktop version. So you can actually now so I used to go in through backwards, but now I can just sit on my Mac and just upload. So I've really enjoyed that rather than having to do things through the phone. So I'm probably a bit behind the eight ball with that one. And also reading, so once again, if I go back to job applications or resumes for people, knowing that the I will read a sort of F, sort of the top and the left, in a sort of an F, which is probably backwards on the camera right now.
Yeah.
So actually using that knowledge, that sort of the I movement onto landing pages with social media as well, is actually trying to concentrate the content writing into that I journey as well. So that's something that I've been personally working on in the last couple of weeks. So.
Yeah, that's so interesting, and it makes perfect sense. And I think when you understand it in that way, like it's so complex, and but you can really leverage that knowledge to do so much better with your social media.
Yeah, I like to call it like using the real estate to the best advantage. So, yeah, because being a retailer, that was something, the customer's eye was a really important part of that customer journey. And I'm quite fascinated by so many things, and it's all sort of mixed in together. But that human behaviour and what people will automatically do, and being able to tap into that to the best advantage.
Yeah, and I just think it provides such a deeper understanding of how people use the platforms, and then that way you can use that to your best advantage.
Correct. Yes.
And tell me, what is some advice, because you give advice, so to say emerging professionals still at university, what advice would you give to them about how to succeed in their careers?
Okay. I think sometimes perhaps people want to, and nothing wrong with this, want to get to the top really quickly, and I don't begrudge that one bit, and I certainly encourage. But I do think sometimes you might need to put in a little bit of extra hours, a little bit of extra research, a little bit of like be open to be a sponge, be open to any opportunity and putting your hand up for anything, and because that's when you're going to learn. And I think the learning, you can't get to where you want to be without the learning, without the steps. I do think there are steps, and it doesn't matter how quickly you get there. But when you finish uni, you sort of maybe think you know it all and you're ready. But I think the learning begins after you actually leave uni, and that's when you actually start to work with people, because there's so many skills that you learn great theory and great things at university, and you might, if it was a graduate, perhaps has had a part-time job in the interim, perhaps in retail, something like that. Those customer service and those being able to get on with other people, teamwork skills are invaluable to take into your real career choice. So not just sort of forget about how important those are, but also be prepared to really put the work in to be where you want to be and grow those skills. They will come, but you've got lots of work to do.
Yeah, no, it's good advice. And so when I get time, sometimes I reflect. It's on sort of the things that, it's funny how, like, things when you learn years ago that you think you're never going to use, but you do it anyway. And then you get to a point, you're like, oh, I know how to do this now. I actually need it. So,
exactly right. It does.
It's crazy, because I remember in in my first job out of uni, I was putting my hand up for everything, and and I've used every single one of those skills throughout my career at some point. One of my very first jobs was actually working at McDonald's, and the customer service training I got there has been like, that still stays with me to this day. So it wasn't an easy job, but just the training on how to put people first, and how to work with the customer and work in a team, like that. That's really helps to shape you.
It's absolutely true, and it's actually back in my retail days that when we saw McDonald's on a resume it's like great, because you've been through that process of training and teamwork and following procedure and those sort of things. And there was another opportunity once, it was quite a few years ago, and it was in fashion, and someone was supposed to do like MC a fashion parade, and they couldn't do it. They just, I can't do it. I'm so nervous. Can you do it for me? I'm like, what makes you think I can do it any better than you? And I thought, but in half an hour, I would have done another skill I haven't done before. So I grabbed the mic, stood on the X, and off I went. And then you couldn't keep a mic out of my hands for the next few years. But putting yourself out there, I probably wouldn't have done that, so many years ago. I would have sort of given into my nerves as much. But I guess experience has taught me that you will get over it. It's not the end of the world, and you're actually going to learn another skill. So,
yeah. What if someone told me you can't actually die from embarrassment? So, you'll either, at least you try, and not more often than not, you always learn whether it works or not. You always gain something from it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you also from your peers and your colleagues, you actually gain a little bit of respect. You'll be seen as being quite reliable, having confidence. So you gain on so many levels by having a go, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And taking a risk, that's all it is. It's just taking a leap out of doing something you've never done before, and like, it's always worth it.
As I feel like even now with my my gigs, my gig economy that I tap into, I've sort of got three little things going. But I feel that entrepreneurship sort of comes from, I sort of knew that I wasn't sort of leaving university as a graduate. I wouldn't sort of be happy in that sort of situation. I have a lot of experience and a lot of ideas, and I sort of had my own dream of what to do. But I also think it makes you, because you're not really, because I'm doing it all on my own, it makes you really hungry, and it makes you determined. I guess that entrepreneurship comes through. I guess there's a really great rich Dad Poor Dad who wrote that. I can't think, but he said that not having a paycheck makes you an entrepreneur. So you have to think of, okay, so how am I going to
I'm going to eat?
I'm going to make it work this week. So yeah, I like the challenge. Yeah.
And so we're sort of at the end now of the interview, but the most important question of the whole show is, who do you like, share and follow?
Oh, Dr. Karen Sutherland.
You don't have to say that, Joe.
I know. I'm so busy on social media, and you're a really great advocate for the local community and for the university and for students. So sincerely, thank you for that. That's really fantastic. I follow a few of the biggies. Simon Sinek, I think he's amazing, and I'm constantly amazed he can still come up with really great philosophy ideas. And I like Amy Cuddy. I really like her. From a local point of view, I follow the Digital Picnic, Kazan Marketing, the girls at Dash of Milk, follow them. I really like Jenny Woodward. I think she's really fantastic. From the Weather from ABC, but she's had her one-woman show going around the country as well. I also follow the Circle Back Initiative, which is a really fantastic movement, which is encouraging employers to respond to every applicant. And there's been over 100 companies that have signed up for that. It's great, and I follow and I support. I'm an advocate that there's a lot of work that goes into job applications for people, and I just need to hear thank you, or you know, and it's sort of, and I quite like seeing the trend in recruitment that, you know, only successful applicants will be contacted is actually a turn off rather than an attraction for the right candidates. So yeah, so I follow them. I'm very supportive of what they do.
Excellent. And so maybe you could tag some of those in the recording of this post. That would be great. So then other people can follow them too.
I will. That's a great idea.
Yeah, thanks. And so we're at the end now. So do you have any final words that you'd like to share before we head off?
Oh, final words. Oh my gosh. I think I've said it all, Karen. I can't think of a word.
Thank you very much. It was really
stay safe and stay home.
Yeah, stay safe, stay home, and we're very lucky that it's only a few days, so we're all good.
That's right. That's right. It's a good opportunity to stay home and just buckle down and do your work. So I think with that, that covered. Probably my final word, and I'll cut to the chase because I do talk a lot, is that we all learn. Everyone upskilled really quickly in their digital, their Teams, their Zooms, online presence, you know. And I think I put something on one of my posts the other day, was to always be camera ready. So even though you're working from home, you know, you might have, I've got, you know, trackies on the bottom, but always be camera ready. Always be camera ready professionally. You never know, someone will say turn your camera on. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Excellent. That's great advice to leave everyone with. Be camera ready. And thank you so much, Sally Anne. And next week I will have Shannon Reynolds, who is the marketing coordinator at the Events Centre on the Sunshine Coast. So it'll be interesting to see how everything's impacted her in her role right now. So
absolutely. Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone, and thanks, Sally Anne. And I'll see you all next week.
Thanks, Karen. Bye, everyone.
Bye.